ito na yung comprehensive challenge natin, no, na problem. Sasagutan natin together. Ito yung part 2 ng cash and cash equivalents. If hindi nyo pa napanood yung konsepto, feel free to watch it. Nandun yan sa channel ko. And sana mag-subscribe din kayo, no, para mas dumami yung reach ko sa iba pa mga students at marami pang matulungan. Yun. So, itong question na to, ang gagawin natin dito ay isang exercise for inclusion or exclusion of whether a particular item belongs to cash and cash equivalent. So, whether to include or exclude, yun lang yung gagawin natin dito. Meron tayong 9 items and yung company natin ay Lemon Corp, no? If magkakaroon ako ng company, yan siguro yung papangalan ko. So, determine Lemon Corp's cash and cash equivalents for December 31, 2025. Importante dito na ma-take note itong date of reporting, no? Itong December 31, 2025, ang tawag dyan yung reporting date. Okay? So, lahat ng outstanding item, dapat kino-compare yan lagi sa reporting date. Papakita natin yung later on kung paano nag-work. Simulan natin sa first item, which is cash on hand, bills and coins na 50,000 pesos. Ito kasi usually kapag silent yung problem, ang assumption dito, laging included yan. So, sasama na natin. Okay? Number 2, demand deposit from BPI. Ito kasi 1 million, no? Wow, laki. Ang assumption din dito ay included if silent, no? Kasi for both cash on hand and demand deposit, if silent, the assumption is that they are unrestricted and available for use by the company. Kaya included yan if the problem is silent. Number 3, post-dated check from customer. Date is January 5, 2026. Ngayon, importante dito na makita yung konsepto ng post-dated check kasi dito meron ng date na binigay which is January 5, 2026. The question is whether included ba yan or hindi. Kailangan i-compare mo yan with December 31, 2025. And makikita nyo na pag gumawa ko dito ng timeline, let's say ito yung reporting period na 2025 year end, no? December 31. Pwede pa lang siya in cash 2026 January. So from the time na nandito tayo sa reporting period, accounts receivable pa rin yung post-dated check. Teka Kuya Lemon, paano mo nasabing AR pala yan? Kasi post-dated check, pwede naman siyang payment or receipt, di ba? Well, if sinabi sa problem na from customer or from someone else, no? Ito. Ang assumption dyan ay AR. Kasi syempre, yung customer mo, hindi naman yan magbibigay sa'yo ng cash freely or ng check freely. Kailangan meron yung preceding transaction. And in this case, AR siya. Nagkaroon ng sale. Kaya ang entry mo dyan, kapag naka-receive ka ng check, usually, di ba, AR, no? Cash debit. Tas AR yung credit. Okay, na 20,000. Kaya lang, since post-dated yan, kailangan i-reverse natin. So, i-debit natin yung AR ulit and then i-credit natin yung cash. Kaya ito, yung number 3, hindi natin sasama yan. Alright. Number 4, check drawn by Lemon Corp, not yet delivered to the payee. In this case, class, makikita nyo na not yet delivered to the payee. Kapag not yet delivered, ito yung mga check-in na nasa'yo pa din at hindi mo nabigay. And obvious naman na itong payee na to, ito yung supplier, no? And kapag bumili ka sa supplier, ang initial entry mo dyan ay debit ka ng let's say inventory kung bumili ka, tapos AP, di ba? Na 30,000. And then kapag ikaw magbabayad na, magde-debit ka ng AP and then mag-credit ka ng cash. Kaya lang since hindi mo nabigay yung check dito, kailangan i-add back mo siya. So i-reverse mo tong entry na to kasi walang payment na nangyari sapagkat hindi yan legally in possession ng payee or ng supplier mo in this case. Therefore, ito ay kailangan i-include or add back, no? Kaya Lemon, bakit add back? Kasi nga sa books dineduct yan, no? Hindi na yan kasama sa cash sa system at least. So kailangan natin yan i-add back. Okay. Number 5, check drawn by Lemon Corp. Dated January 15, 2026. So, same yung case nito with number 3. Mapapansin nyo, no, post-dated check to actually. Ang difference lang from number 3 is that this one is drawn by my company, Lemon Corp. In this case, it is an accounts payable. And therefore, we should add it back. Sapagkat yung payment obligation natin, may extinguish lang yan kapag encashable na yung check eh. Which in this case is not the case because it is a post dated check which can only be in cash on January 15, 2026. So ito, kailangan natin i-add back or i-include dito sa problem na to. I hope that's clear. Number 6. 90-day treasury bill. Purchased December 1, 2025. Ngayon, ang i-compare kasi natin dito, no? Kailan ba yung, maturity date? Well, nakalagay actually, no? Ito yan, yung 90-day. So, i-add mo December 1 plus 90 days. So, I think magiging maturity date yan would be January, February, March. No, so I think 3 months siya. If I get my math correctly, March 1. Kasi December, January, February, then March 1 siya magiging mature. In this case, kailangan natin add back yan. Kasi diba pag investments like your treasury bill, as long as it's acquired within 3 months of maturity date, then it's considered as a cash equivalent. Therefore, this must be included. Okay? So, Kuya Lemon, ano ba ang T-bill? Ang T-bill kasi class, ang government kasi for their fiscal policy, fiscal and monetary policy, what they usually do is they produce debt instruments. In this case, treasury bills. Ang treasury bills nagre-represent yan ng debt of the government to someone else. So kapag bumili ka ng 90-day treasury bill, pinapautang mo essentially yung government. And kapag T-bill kasi, short term yan. Okay, short term. Okay. Number 7. 120-day treasury bond purchased November 1, 2025. Pag binilang mo siya, 120 days pa. Okay? Ilan ba yung 120 days? That's actually 4 months. Pag ganyan, class, hindi yan included. Okay? This is because hindi siya pumasok sa 3-month rule. Therefore, this is actually classified as a short-term investment. Okay? So, obvious naman, di ba? Basta pag 3-month lang talaga yung pwede dyan. Kapag more than 3 month na, let's say 3 months and 1 day, hindi na talaga pwede yun. Okay? Next, cash restricted for plant expansion. Kapag itong cash restricted, obvious naman, nakalagay restricted, no? At makikita mo 2027. Kung ganyan yung case, hindi yan pwede i-include. E-exclude natin yan. Bakit, Kuya Lemon? Sapagkat ang cash and cash equivalents dapat immediately available yan. You may ask me, well, Kuya Lemon, cash pa din yan eh. So ano yung recording yan? Where will it fall in your financial statements? Your restricted cash would be under non-current asset. Okay? So non-current asset po yan. Sapagkat hindi naman yan magagamit immediately. And in fact, this is a restricted account for a non-current purpose, which is plant expansion. Kaya non-current asset yan. So yung ano ba tawag doon? May tawag doon eh. Yung parang corresponding yan na purpose is actually non-current. Therefore, ang cash na to ay current din. Kaya nga pa mapansin nyo later sa working capital management na important yung konsepto ng available cash. Kasi ang available cash sa working capital mo, immediately usable yan for your current operations. Kaya freely mo yan pwede i-manage. Unlike restricted cash na it's literally a savings or restriction to save for a particular non-current undertaking, which is in this case a plant expansion, hindi na talaga dapat ini-include yan. So, hindi yan magiging part ng working capital management later on, in fact, yung restricted cash. Well, generally speaking, no, of course, sa industry, it can mix up. But anyway, for academic purposes, your number 8 is excluded. Number 9, bank draft. Sorry, tumunog yung mouse ko. Number 9, bank draft. BDO. Ito ba, exclude or include? The answer is exclude. Tandaan nyo, class, ang rule for overdraft is that dapat, generally speaking, pwede siya i-offset. Kapag yung account mo, it belongs to one bank, yung accounts mo, it belongs to one bank, tapos at the same time, immaterial siya. Pero pag hindi, ang treatment niyan would be a current liability. In this particular case, mapapansin nyo no, na BDO yung bank. Wala namang ibang BDO account dito sa 9 items na to, di ba? Ang other stated na bank natin is BPI lang. Therefore, in such case, the overdraft must be treated as a current liability kasi you cannot offset an account from one bank to the other. Dapat same bank dyan and immaterial as well. So kahit 1 million yung sa BPI and then 10,000 yung sa BDO, you still cannot offset. It's not allowable under general accounting principles. So, ang total ng answer natin dito ay 1,195,000. Ito yung final answer natin for this comprehensive problem. If you have any questions, feel free to comment. And yun lang. See you in our next video. God bless everyone.